Our selection will be Hallelujah, Salvation and Glory.
Salvation and glory, honor and power to Yah our El. For Yah our El is almighty. Yes, Yah our El is omnipotent. Yah our El, He is wonderful. Hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power to Yah our El. For Yah our El is almighty. Yes, Yah our El is omnipotent. Yah our El, He is wonderful.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have favorite love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us. It's certain things that we read, especially within those oracles, that we're going to go into, because sometimes we hear something so much that we really get a little desensitized to it. Even within the beginning of the first things that we say in opening up of holy convocation, we have to understand the difference between holy convocation and when we are set to gather or things of that nature. There was a question or a comment about Bible study, and eventually we had talked about getting a camera in the other room where we do the Bible study, but I don't think a lot of people understand the difference or why we actually have Bible study outside of the sanctuary. There's a difference between holy convocation and the things that you do holy and what you continually do in that room. And because people are constantly watching everybody on the internet, what they end up seeing is these people do their Bible study, they do their Sabbath class, they do all of that in the same room. There is no separation between holy convocation and any other gathering. And what happens is people are watching that, and their brain sort of gets set for that particular thing. And then they don't know it, but that thing has infected their thought process. And then they ask questions or wonder why you are not doing what they are doing. And there's supposed to be a separation. Yahweh separated the sanctuary from Israel. He says, because of your regular dealings, if I keep this around you, I'm going to have to kill you. Because you're going to do something that is going to be so foul that I won't have any choice. Just within your regular dealings, you're going to do something that's going to make my holy place unholy. And then I got to deal with you. And that's why you separate the holy place from other things. All of the gatherings, all of the other things we do in other rooms. We don't do everything in the sanctuary. And people don't really understand that. They don't understand the separation between holy and what is not holy. Every gathering we have is not a holy convocation. And you need to understand the difference between that. We've done open mics in this room. We're partying. We're not in the sanctuary. But people don't get that. And not understanding that, we start mixing things. Well, we can't do this, or we can't do that, or we can't. No, you can't do that in the sanctuary. You do not understand the difference between holy things and regular gatherings. Why do you think when you look at some of the people who are teaching on the internet, they will never call their gathering, that's what you're going to hear, gathering. There's a reason why they call it a gathering, because they understand that it can't be holy if they letting everybody in, if they can dress any old kind of way, and they can do whatever they want to do. Now it's just a gathering. That's convocation. The holy part comes before that. And if you take away all of the things that are holy, it can't be a holy convocation. Then you just have a convocation, which is a gathering. So we have to learn the difference between those two. And if not, the adversary is going to slay us. Because what ends up happening, and we've encountered this so many times, where the adversary tries to turn around and tell you, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that. And before you know it, you are so limited within your mind because of these things that he allows to be mixed in together, that now you believing, oh, I can't have any, pleasure at Yahweh's house. And we read in Bible study, well, they brought their wine and strong drink. Now think about that. Those are two totally different things. Wine is one thing. Then you go read in the book, it says wine for the maids. That was for the women. The brothers had a little something, a little stiffer. See, people don't understand what you make out of corn. So there's some things that we're not understanding. We're pushing all of that into his sanctuary, and then we try to make the whole house untouchable because of that. He said, you're supposed to rejoice at my place. I want you to enjoy yourself at my place. That's the thing we have to pay attention to as we are dealing, because we will run into all of these things, and without knowing it, then we turn around and talk to somebody else. Now that person has been poisoned against dealing with certain things, because now we have passed that word on before checking to see if that word was accurate. We're going to begin today's sermon in Matthew chapter 15, and we're going to read verses 1 through 20. And today's sermon is entitled, Every Word and Deed.
Matthew chapter 15, verse 1. Then came Yahshua's scribes and Pharisees. Then came to Yahshua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying.
Now, these are supposed to be the highly educated people among the group, okay, among Israel. So these are supposed to be the people. These are the people that have the respect amongst the people. Okay, Grant.
Why do your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread.
Now, these are the educated people, and this is their issue. These are the people that so-called deal with all of the things of the word. This is why you can't listen to everybody who say they know the word. They're supposed to be dealing with the word, and they want to talk about why you ain't washing your hands. This is their subject matter. Go ahead.
But he answered and said unto them, Why do you also transgress the commandments of Elohim by your tradition?
I need to point out something. Did you notice he didn't deal with that mess? See, I don't think some of y'all noticed that. He took that mess and went somewhere else with it. Why do you not wash your hands? Man, how about let us deal with something of substance? Because that right there, what you're talking about, has absolutely no substance. We've been talking about hand washing. No. Let's get to some substance. And he took that non-substance conversation and put substance directly behind it. Now, this can be a fruitful conversation. If we're going to have a 30-minute conversation about whether or not I get all the dirt out from under my nails, that conversation ain't fruitful. But I tell you what, we're going to make this mess that you just brought, it's going to be fruitful by the time I get through talking. Because I'm going to let you dictate the conversation with that dead fruit that you just brought. See, that was dead fruit. You wouldn't buy that if somebody brought that to you at the market. So I got a bag of dead fruit. Man, get that dead fruit out in front of me. I ain't finna buy that. So why you buy it when somebody bring vocal dead fruit before you? That's vocally dead fruit. Let's talk about some live fruit. Go ahead.
For Elohim commanded, saying, Honor your father and mother, and he that curses father or mother, let him die the death. But you say, Whosoever shall say to his mother or his father, It is a gift by whatsoever you might be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have you made the commandment of Elohim of none effect by your tradition.
So what he ended up doing was showing how you have put your tradition or the things that you have gotten accustomed to, you put them over the tradition of Yahweh, our Elohim, and was trying to bring forth your manly tradition upon me. Go ahead.
You hypocrites, well did Esaias prophesy of you, saying, This people draws near unto me with their mouth, and honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
Right. The lips and the heart are supposed to be connected. See? The things that come out of the lips are an indication of what is in the heart. But he says, you have separated your lips from your heart. For you say one thing, but your heart is somewhere altogether different. Go ahead.
But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
Mm-hmm.
And he called the multitude and said unto them, Hear and understand. Not that which goes into the mouth defiles a man, but that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man.
Right. So now he's dealing with a certain thing, but you have to be careful because this is where people will tell you that you can eat anything because that which goes in the mouth does not defile the man. Now they've taken this and now they already got a pork chop right now and they ain't finished reading yet. Okay. They ain't finished reading because they heard enough of what they wanted to hear to serve that particular purpose. So now they gone. Keep going.
Then came his disciples and said unto him, Knoweth you that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying?
Right. See, you have to watch where and why people get offended. It is a very good indication of what's in their heart. Just sit there and watch. Oh, that offends you? Now the next question should be, why does that offend me? So that you can figure out what's in your own heart. Why does that offend me? What personal gear am I in that this part of the word or this particular thing that has been said, why does that offend me? Go ahead.
But he answered and said, Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind.
Blind leaders of the blind. Go ahead.
And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch.
Both are going to fall into the ditch. Now, imagine how, bad that has to be that you jumped in the car with somebody who's legally blind. And you know what's interesting? We had a surprise on our face when we realized we in a wreck. But when you got in the car, you knew they couldn't see. You knew that before you got in there. Now, why they was driving the car and they couldn't see is a problem. But the bigger problem is why you got in the car with them. You knew they couldn't see. So the bigger fool in that would be you. If they want to kill themselves, jumping in that car and get behind the wheel and they can't see, you try and talk them out of it. But if they hell bent on it, all right, then hope it work out. And you step on back. You don't jump in the car. I'm going to save you by getting in the car and I'm going to die with you. We're going to die together. No, we not. No, we not. Somebody got to live to tell the story, and I think I tell good ones. So I'm going to live to tell this story. Yahweh, I tell them not to get in that car. Go ahead, bro.
Then answered Cephas and said unto him, Declare unto us this parable. And Yahshua said, Are you also yet without understanding? Do not you yet understand that whatsoever enters in at the mouth goes into the belly and is cast out into the draught?
In other words, what you eat, it's going to come out. Go ahead.
But those things which proceed out of the mouth comes forth from the heart.
Ah, they stuck in there. Oh, they don't come out. See, you don't get to say something and say, you know what, man, I done said some foul stuff. I got to go to the bathroom and get rid of this. That ain't how that works. Oh, no. Once you put that bad communication out, it's out there. And then people continually go back and talk to one another. You remember what such and such said, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that bad is still out there. You can't go to the bathroom and get rid of it. See, you eat something bad, you can go to the bathroom and get rid of that. Matter of fact, you be counting the minutes. I can't wait till I get rid of this. My God, I feel horrible. It don't work that way when something foul come out of your mouth. It only works that way when something foul goes into your mouth. Not when it comes out. You don't get rid of this, get rid of that. It floats. And it goes from person to person to person to person. You may encounter something foul, you said, 6 months later. Somebody else comes and run up to you. I ain't even talk to you. No, I talked to such and such, who talked to such and such, who talked to such and such and such and such. And then that's how I heard it. Wow. Go ahead.
And they defile the man. Verse 19. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witnesses, blasphemies.
So all of this stuff was already moving around in the heart before it came out of the mouth. So by the time it come out of the mouth, it was already being stirred up in the heart. I can't stand such and such. Oh, I want to kill such and such. Oh, I want to sleep with such and such. Oh, I want to do such and such. Oh, I want to do. This is what's being stirred up in the heart. And sooner or later, it come out of that mouth. Oh, my goodness. Did I say that? Oh, my goodness. I can't believe I said that. Where did that come from? Oh, it came from here. That's where it came from. Oh, no, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to say that. Sure you didn't. Yeah, what happened was this got full. And sooner or later, it went. Go ahead.
These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashen hands defiles not a man.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12, and let's read verses 33 through 37.
Verse 33. Either make the tree good and his fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit.
Right. The tree is known by his fruit. Whatever it produces, that's what kind of tree it is. And the problem is sometimes we may believe that we are one kind of tree, but our fruit does not bear witness that that's the kind of tree that we are. See, you can plant a peach tree right next to a bunch of apple trees. And because it hang out with apple trees, it say, well, I'm an apple tree. No, because see, I'm looking at that stuff that's on your branches. Those are peaches. No, I'm an apple tree. No, you are not. Your fruit bears witness of what kind of tree you are. I don't care what kind of trees you are around. That is not the type of tree you are. So if you're confused about what kind of tree you are, look at the fruit that proceeds from your branches. Go ahead.
O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when something foul comes out of the mouth, it was in the heart first. So then that means there's some things going on inside that heart that brought forth those words out of that mouth. And don't think that everything that's foul comes off foul. Some of it sounds so smooth and sweet, and it's laced with daggers. Go ahead.
A good man out of the good treasure of the heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
You know, there's two things that we're going to have to examine there. Idle, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account for. So then we have to look at idle and account. Go ahead. Finish that up.
For by the words you shall be justified, and by your words, verse 37, for by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned.
So you're looking at condemnation or justification based on your vocalization. Let's read the definition for idle. Read that on this graphic.
G692, argos, from G1, means it's Greek, as a negative particle, and G2041, inactive, that is, unemployed. By implication, lazy, useless, barren, idle, slow.
So an idle word is going to be barren, meaning it is not going to produce anything or anything useful. So then we have idle words that we say sometimes for no reason at all. It is not going to produce any positive outcome. Go to the next graphic. Account.
G3056, logos, from G3004, something said, including the thought, by implication a topic, subject of discourse.
Now this is where it gets interesting because it's got a lot of stuff there, but I want to point out a couple of them. Go ahead.
Also reasoning,
Reasoning.
the mental faculty, or motive.
Motive. So now we got reason, motive, and if we keep going down, we're going to then find intent. This is that thing that we can hide from one another, but you cannot hide from Yahweh. He knows the idle word, but then he also knows the reasoning, the motive, and the intent of why it was said. That's what we're going to have to deal with. And we're going to have to deal with that from somebody who we cannot hide our true intent and motive from. See, it's one thing when you stand before a judgment seat of a bunch of people who look like you, and they just have their own earthly understanding of whatever is said. That's one of the most difficult things that they say it is to do in court, is to figure out somebody's intent. So when they're doing certain things, they said, okay, well, this person committed an act, but then they have to try to figure out, was it their intent to do that maliciously? That is the most difficult thing in court to prove. But Yahweh will be able to prove intent before you even step foot toward the judgment seat. He ain't confused at all. He not only knows what we did, he know why we did it. We might have said that we did something for a good reason. Yahweh know exactly what that reason is. Intent not going to be difficult for him to prove. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4. Now, these are things that we go over partly in our oracles, but there are some very, very interesting points here in Ephesians. And we have to consider these things because we are getting to the part of our Passover. We're getting to the point where Yahshua, our Mashiach, came and died for our sins and made atonement for us. This is what we are encountering. So when you look at all of the suffering that had to take place to put us back in the right place with Yahweh our Elohim, we have to at least consider some kind of heartfelt change that we should be able to endure. Ephesians chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 1.
I therefore, the prisoner of the Adonai, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you are called, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love.
Right. And when you talk about forbearing one another in love, we have to consider sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in the situation that we're in and the problems that we are encountering. And if we press that pause button and try to understand the problems that we have made Yahweh to deal with us first of all as an individual, and then us as a nation of people, it should get us out of so much of our personal struggle, because somebody else has had to struggle tremendously dealing with you. But it's very, very difficult to deal with that when you're caught up in your own space. See? Go ahead.
Verse 3, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, even as you are called in one hope of your calling.
Right. That means also that there's one doctrine. See, when it says that we're trying to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace, you can't keep that with various doctrines. See, one person believed that they can keep the Sabbath to sundown. The other person believed they can keep the Sabbath to 6 o'clock. There ain't gonna be no peace in those two doctrines, because one of them is still trying to. The time change during the summer. See, 6 o'clock work when it's cold. Then when the seasons change and it don't get dark until 8:45, now you got somebody at 6 o'clock, they partying down, and the other dude trying to keep the Sabbath. And I mean, they getting it. Boy, they getting it. What you doing? Where you going? Oh, we out. Where you going? We on our way to a shindig. It's 5:59. Yeah, I know, the Sabbath over. Who told you that? Different doctrine. So one person's Sabbath still going on. The other person has taken off, getting ready to go do something else. You can't have peace with two different doctrines, because that is a disagreement in the spirit. Go ahead.
I was just going to add to that and say that becomes a vexation to both parties, because one person wants you to come out and party. So that's a vexation to him.
Yep.
And you got a vexation because you're like, no, we shouldn't be partying.
Exactly. Now see, now you got to figure out at this point now which spirit gonna win. Because see, this is that part where we get persuaded. Well, I mean, I really don't want to, worship the devil, but I mean, all y'all going? How about I just stay out to 8 and then I'll come in? Oh, okay. We're gonna compromise with our salvation. Right. See? This is when the peer pressure part starts setting in. And don't think that grown people don't have peer pressure. See, we talk about peer pressure when we're young. You talk about that to the teenagers. It don't occur to people that grown folk still have peer pressure. See, When one person want to sit still, but then the other person want to move, then you got that pressure coming. And you got to figure out which way I'm going to go. What am I going to do? Which of these directions is going to be pleasing unto Yahweh? So the question is, are we trying to please Yahweh? Or are we trying to please ourselves? Are we trying to please our spouse? Are we trying to please our friend? Who is going to be number one on your pleasing list? See, I can answer that quick. I know who number one on my pleasing list. Yahweh sit in that seat. Nobody else gets to sit in that seat. And if anything you want disagrees with anything he wants, I can tell you how it's going to end up. I can tell you we ain't got to talk about it. We can go ahead and take this right now. I'm sorry. That's not acceptable to my Elohim. So I'm going to need you to go back to the drawing board. That's not going to happen. Ain't no ifs, ands, but it ain't no emotion about it. I ain't got to be mean about it. I ain't got to be nothing. No. That's not going to happen. Because I know who number one on my pleasing list. Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 5. One Adonai, one faith, one baptism, one Elohim and Father of all, who is above all, and through all, and in you all. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of the Mashiach. Wherefore he says, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive, and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth?
Right. And some people teach this is where, Christ went to hell. And then, he went to hell and did all of these things. But what we don't understand is that baptism, that spirit that descended in the bodily shape of a dove, rested on the body of Yahshua. That was the spirit of Israel resting in that body. And even in that, Yahshua didn't get his baptism until 30, because according to the law, you have to be 30 years old before you can work in the priesthood. He wasn't just doing some things because he thought it was cool. He was following his father's law. Go ahead.
He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of the Mashiach.
Right. When you deal with Ephesians or Ephesus, we understand that they're not going to be given priests. Those are given unto Israel. You don't find priest or priesthood until you start dealing with Peter or dealing with the book of Hebrews. So Yahweh has already said, this is what he talked about in Romans 9 verse 4, the authority of the Israelites. But because we don't understand that we have authority, we give up our authority and let other unauthorized people teach us. That's why we in droves at Jewish congregations, listening to Jewish people tell you that you are a Gentile. You can't get no more of an oxymoron than that. That is something seriously wrong with that doctrine. But when you don't understand your authority, you walk around it and give it up. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Till we all come into the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of Elohim, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Yahshua. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine.
Right. At some point, we got to grow up in the word. That every new thing that's heard doesn't toss us from one end to the other. See, at some point, you can't just let every doctrine that come in. Now, this was one thing during their time. It is much more difficult for us. They didn't have internet. You can turn on your phone and a doctrine just jump right in your phone. Somebody say, oh, watch this right here. Before you know it, boom, another doctrine in your head. You can get 4 different doctrines before you get to the house. But at some point, you have to become spiritually stronger so that every last one of these doctrines don't infiltrate your heart. See, we shouldn't be falling to the same stuff in year 3 that we failed to in year 1. There's something seriously wrong with that. If you in year 5 and you doing the same stuff that you did in year 1, there's something wrong there. There's some spiritual growth that is not taking place. And we have to figure out why. Go ahead.
By the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Verse 15. But speaking the truth in love, may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Yahshua, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplies, according to the effectual working in the measures of every part, maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love.
Which every joint supplies according to the effectual working in the measure of every part. So when one part of the body lacks, then other parts of the body step in to help that part that doesn't operate the way that it's supposed to. Physically and naturally. And spiritually, I mean. Go ahead.
This I say therefore, and testify in the Adonai, that you henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of Elohim through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart.
So now he's connecting blindness, not with the eyes, but blindness of the heart. So now the heart is blind and they are not able to deal with things correctly. Not because they have blind eyes physically. No, they have a blind heart spiritually. Go ahead.
Who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness. But you have not so learned the Mashiach, if so be that you have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahshua, that you put off concerning the former conversation the old man.
Which is one of the hardest things that we're ever going to do in this word. It is not something that you just do. You got in the water, you got baptized, and the old man was floating in the water. That's not how that happened. You're going to find that you're going to be fighting that old dude the rest of your life. Every time you turn around, you trying to do something, and here come that old dude whispering in your ear. You know, if I was you, I wouldn't even take that. If I was you, I'd swing on him right now. Sometimes you got to just shut up, old me. Shut up. You got to tell the old you to shut up, because he's constantly in your ear. You know, you didn't used to be this weak, you know. You used to be much stronger than this. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's a slick one, that old you. See, that's the problem. Some of y'all don't know how slick the old you is. Oh, my goodness, that old you was a slick son of a gun. And he constantly going in your ear every time something happens. I wouldn't even handle that like that if I was you. I'd go to hell off. That's what I'd do. Sometimes you got to go in the other room. Excuse me for a minute. I need to go ahead and talk. I need to go ahead and talk to myself. You got to go talk to yourself? Yeah, because this old dude is causing me some issues. And sometimes he pops up more than others. Sometimes that old dude will leave you alone for months. And then you just walking down the hall and you bump right into that old dude. Excuse me. Who the hell are you? I'm you. Now come on over here and let's talk about some nonsense. Let's get off into some nonsense together. No, bro. I've been avoiding you for months. Right? You got to know that this is a lifelong fight, fighting this old dude. Getting rid of this old man. This is not something that you just going to drop off and it's a done deal. It don't work like that. You're going to have to continually fight this dude. Think about how long that old dude was around based on your time in the Word. So you got 40-year-old people in here that's been in the Word 2 years. That old dude, 38. The new dude, 2. The 38-year-old just slap on the 2-year-old. Psh, shut up. He just slap up on that 2-year-old. Give me your candy, fool. Pow. Ah! Right. You think you 2 years old and just go up against that 38-year-old like it ain't nothing? No, you're going to get beat up a few times. But you learn to do just what them children do. Sometimes you got to holler loud enough so your mama hear you. Ah! And Yahweh like, what happening down there? This old man beat up on me. Oh, okay. Get more out of the way, fool. You got to holler loud enough for your daddy to hear you. You don't say nothing, he say, oh, they fine. See, when you have multiple children, you learn this. See, they have fake screams, then they got real screams, and sometimes you hear them in there, and then you wait. Okay, they ain't serious, ain't nobody screaming. Ain't nobody screaming yet. See, didn't nothing get broke? You know what I'm saying? They not serious. But sooner or later, you hear, ah! Oh, okay, get up, go to the left, I go to the right, come on. Same way. Y'all always say, well, wait a minute, if that old man was beating up on you, I should have heard from you. Why didn't I hear from you when that old man was beating up on you? Why I didn't hear from you? So I thought it was okay. I thought you had it handled. You ain't say nothing. When that old man get to beating up on you, your dad ought to hear about it. Go ahead, bro.
Sometimes it gets hard to fight that old man off when he jump out, depending on who you surrounded yourself with at that time, too.
You got it.
Egging the old man on. He got a cheerleader team.
Well, they know the old man very well. See, who they don't know is this little 2-year-old. And they want to know who is this little thing in the pull-ups. Who is that? But I know this 38-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I know this person here. I don't know this little person in the pull-ups. See, matter of fact, let's get rid of them so we can finish doing what we normally do, you know. Right? So that makes it much more difficult for you to fight against that old man when you got familiar spirits in your midst. Go ahead.
Which is corrupt according to deceitful lust. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man.
Oh my goodness, the spirit of your mind, renewed in the spirit of your mind, allowing your mind to receive a different direction. And that is very difficult if you are surrounded by all familiar spirits. And Yahweh is trying to direct your mind in a different way, in a different path, in a different direction that leads towards salvation. See, the mind is very funny. The mind will take a familiar route without you knowing it. I've come to this congregation so much that if I get to a certain intersection on Redan Road, no matter where I'm going, my vehicle turns right. And I'd be like, good God, that ain't the way I was going. I wasn't even going this way. My brain said, oh no, I know this route. Oh, no. We're finna go to the church. No, it's Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm not. So now I got to argue with myself. That's not where I was going. But autopilot just kicked in and just turned. It knew that route. Now think about the OU. As you start getting near familiar places and familiar things, that old man start beating up on that toddler. Turn left right here. What we turning left for? You know where we going. You know where we going. Turn left right here. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Which after Elohim is created in righteousness and true holiness. Wherefore, putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another.
We are members one of another. So if we're going to put away lying, then we have to deal with some of those empty, idle words that we speak. Those empty, idle words will cause you to lie for no reason at all, other than we want to preserve face or present a face that we think is more pleasurable than the one we have. And Yahweh see through all faces. And He's going to show His servants eventually how to see through all faces. So everything that's done in the dark is going to present itself. So whatever face you think you protected, It's going to show itself. All you got to do is sit down. Go ahead.
Be you angry, and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your anger. Neither give place to the devil. Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that needs. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth.
Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. Corrupt communication can be a number of things. Corrupt communication can sound like it is the nicest thing ever. But it's corrupt depending on the intent. That thing that we can hide physically, but can never hide spiritually. Go ahead.
But that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers.
Right. So if it doesn't minister grace unto the hearers, then it's an idle word. It is an idle concept because it is not going to produce anything of value. Go ahead.
And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed unto the day of redemption.
Right. So now, if the Spirit is trying to direct the congregation in one way, but then you come and bring something that directs the congregation in another way, you have now grieved the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit said, I turn left. Why did I just have 5 people lead a group and turn right? What happened? Now the Holy Spirit trying to figure out who's giving different directions. I guess they didn't see when the cloud moved left. The cloud moved left. Why do I have these people on the right? What happened? Well, they were saying such and such and such and such. Oh, now they done grieved the Holy Spirit. Call the Holy Spirit like, you know what? Now I got to pause. I got to stop where I'm going. Now I got to go back and get these 5 and get them back with the group. If you got 99 sheep, you lead the 99 and go get the 1, right? Okay, so now the Spirit got to stop what it's doing. Tell the 99, stay right here. Let me go get this lost sheep. Go get the lost. Bring the lost back. Then it can go on. Well, how many times you think the Spirit going to keep doing that? Say, hey, you know, we ain't never going to get to where we're going. Because every time I turn left or I turn, I got a group to turn another direction. And I don't know how is that difficult. When you just saw 90 people turn left, how 4 of y'all turn right? 90 people just turn left. How did you get the inclination in your mind to turn right? Where did that come from? A different doctrine that grieves the Holy Spirit. You consider that you on your way somewhere and somebody following you. And we just going from here to Memorial Drive, which ain't but 10 miles away. And every time you turn left, they turn right. And you got to stop and go find them. How many times you think before you get ticked off? What is wrong with you? Did you not see I put my flashers on so you can understand which car was mine? How do you keep going in a different direction? They following something else. How long before that grieves you? Now consider, our Father is trying to lead us towards salvation, and we all have carefully designed plans of salvation directly suited for you. Because see, the same issue I have in my life ain't the same issue that this person got in their life, ain't the same issue that that person got in their life. So we have a final destination. And some of those turns we're going to make together. But some of those things, he going to send you, oh, look, while we stopped here, I'm going to need you to go on a little thing over here because I need you to pick up a few things before we leave. Those things are carefully suited for us individually because he knows what issues we have individually set apart from one another. And when we decide to take our own left turn or right turn, you're going to figure out, even though you might arrive at the final destination with us, you're going to look up. This brother got this. that sister got this. This brother got this and this. That sister got this and this. You had to find a destination, but ain't nothing in your hand. Why I don't have the stuff they have? Because you didn't take the route you were supposed to take. See, it was 10 virgins going to meet the bridegroom, but only 5 of them made it. Now, they were at the final destination, which is right at the point of meeting the bridegroom. But that's as far as they got. Why? Because they didn't have the spirit, the oil that they were supposed to have. But they got to the final destination, though. So that's where some people are going to believe that they're doing the right thing because they're going to arrive at the final destination at the same time as everybody else. And then here come Yahshua. And then you're going to realize that you're missing some articles that everybody else picked up along the way. But making your own personal turns, you're not going to have those things. And you will be left there as everybody else moves on. That is a problem. Go ahead, bro.
You know, every time you got to stop to go get this one sheep, progress is being delayed.
Of course progress is being delayed.
And also, you putting the rest of the sheep that you leaving, you putting them in harm's way.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and let me tell you something. There are certain things that are time specific. See? That once you mess up the time, now you may have to wait a whole nother month to let that roll back around again. See, we know that when we on our way traveling somewhere. You know, look, I need to be on I-10 by 10. I'm telling you now. Look, hey, look here. Daddy, what you doing? Here go these little cups. What we doing with the cups? Kids, you got to use the bathroom. Come on, let's go. Wait a minute. We're not going to stop to go to the bathroom. I-10 by 10, baby. I ain't got time. What? What's wrong with this man? That man got a time that he planning on being there? And ain't nobody gonna stop that man from getting there at that time. Here go your little pea cup. Now don't mix these cups up. This your drink cup. This your pea cup. Do not, don't mix. Hey, don't mix them up. Don't mix them now. Make sure you know which cup is which cup. We got to go. Every time there's a stop, it delays. Stop a man on a long trip a couple times and see how ticked off he get. Look here, baby. We stopping too much now. You could have went to the bathroom and got them peanuts in the same stop. We didn't have to stop one time for you to get something to drink and then stop again for the peanuts and then stop again for you to use the bathroom. Use the bathroom, get the water and the peanuts in the one stop. Then we can keep our progress. Well, the spirit is going to get extremely agitated if we keep interfering with its process. Go ahead.
Why are you talking about me, man?
Hey, bro. If you feel like that's you, that's on you. I don't remember calling your name, bro. I didn't call. That was the spirit said, "Kish." That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you.
Even as Elohim for Mashiach's sake has forgiven you. So that same thing that we want to have from Yahweh, we have to be able to offer that for somebody else. This is not one-way forgiveness. It's not one-way redemption. Oh, forgiveness is only yours? That's a selfish walk then. Now we're walking in selfishness. Forgiveness, redemption, all of this for us, but none of that for nobody else. No, that's a problem. There's something wrong with that. Let's go to our Numbers chapter 13. Because see, as we deal with corrupt communication, we have to then deal with what the results and the fruit that come from that corrupt communication. Let's go to Numbers chapter 13. And we're going to start that at verse 16.
These are the names of the men which Moshe sent to spy out the land. And Moshe called Osi, the son of Nun, Yahshua.
Now, and we look, and it is one of the things that you see constantly in this book. The people have one name, and then they receive another name, and we all know that we are the kings of nicknames. Some of us don't even want some of our nicknames to be known. See, you run into one of them old friends and they call out one of them nicknames, and then we be ashamed. We don't want to hear them old nicknames. But he giving him a nickname according to what it is he's going to do. Yahshua was more fitting to him than Hoshea. So now you got a different purpose in your life. This name ought to fit your purpose. Go ahead.
And, you know, that's that thing. We all know him as Yahshua, Yahshua, and then you see this one little part of, oh, his real name's Oshea?
Right. Go ahead.
And Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, get you up this way, southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be you of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes.
Right. So whenever before you go to war, you send some people on a reconnaissance mission, and they gather information to look at, how the land is made up. All right, this is where the city sits. This is a valley. These are hills. This is the area in which we can go down in. This is a common practice, so that you don't get somewhere, get in some valley stuck in the mud, and you can't get out. So y'all didn't really look at this place before you came in here, did you? Go ahead.
So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south and came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs.
Now, and if you understand who these Anakims are, this is really a problem for them physically. Go ahead.
The place was called the brook Eshcol, because of the clusters of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moshe and to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him, and said, we came unto the land whither you sent us, and surely it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled, and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there.
These giants. Go ahead.
The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moshe, and said, let us go up at once, and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature.
So now this has put fear in the hearts of all the other people. So now this report is now evil by the way it has been now delivered. So now they don't want to move the way that Yahweh is directing them to move, because now they are afraid. Go ahead.
And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Keep going.
And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night.
So now, because of the report that some of these brothers have delivered, now the whole congregation is now upset. See, those words flowed from these group of people and now has disrupted the entire congregation. Go ahead.
And all the children of Israel murmured against Moshe.
All the children, not just the ones who went. You got to see how that worked. The ones went out. They brought back an evil report. The evil report has now infected the entire congregation. Now everybody is coming against Moshe. Go ahead.
And the whole congregation said unto them, would Elohim that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would Elohim we had died in the wilderness?
So now we on level 2, because now we feeling sorry for ourselves now. See, now we got a problem with Moshe, and now we should be dead. With Elohim, we just would have died. We should have died in the wilderness than be out here about to go over here and get killed by giants dealing with you. Now, keep in mind now, these people ain't been there. They didn't go. They just heard the word from some other birds. Go ahead.
And wherefore has Yahweh brought us onto this land
to
fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And
now, it says that our wives and our children should be a prey. Now, they act like this is about their wives and their children. But this is how them loose lips talk you right into your own punishment. This is why he says, by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. Several times you go in this book and people have pronounced their own punishment, not even knowing it. Just a talking. Loose at the lips. Done put their own destruction right on themselves. And Yahweh said, you remember that thing you had said such and such? Right. That punishment you was uttering on yourself. You just didn't know it. Go ahead.
And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt.
In other words, let us overthrow Moshe. We need another leader. This leader ain't good enough. We need another one. We don't trust that this leader know what he's doing. That this leader he done brought us out here to die. We need another leader. Let's raise us up a captain that's going to lead us in a different direction. Go ahead.
Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly.
Not for himself. See, he know Yahweh. So when he hear this, he knows these silly people think they going against me. They going against Yahweh. He's not falling on his face for himself. See, those are the things that people miss. He not worried about himself. He's like, these people about to get themselves killed. He ain't falling for him. Go ahead.
Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Yephani, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If Yahweh delight in us, then he will bring us into this land, and give it us, a land which flows with milk and honey.
Right, so you got two people talking to the rest of them. Go ahead.
Only rebel not you against Yahweh, neither fear you the people of the land. For they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones.
So now that these two brothers are trying to talk to the rest of them, they want to kill these brothers. Make sure when everybody start having all these Israelite pep rallies and everything, make sure that you understand that these your people too. You know, the ones that want to kill you when you try to make them do right. Do remember that them your folk too. So while everybody talking about, oh, I'm from this tribe and we this, that, and everybody ready to have their little Israelite pep rallies, make sure you understand that Israel is the same people that will try to kill you when you try to make them do right. Understand that. So that you're not confused when you see this big old bag of rocks. What y'all finna do with that? And they practicing throwing. Hey man, why they practicing throwing these rocks? And they just keep getting closer and closer. You, hey, wait a minute. That one got close to me. Right. Because they meant for you. You need to understand that these your people too. Don't just go in here and find all the good parts about Israel and now we're ready to throw an Israelite pep rally and we want to dance and sing. Right. Them murderers in your family too. He says, Israel, you that kill the prophets and stone them that are sent unto you, that's your family too. So don't act like when you go to the family reunion that you don't know who the murderers are over there. Go ahead.
And the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me?
Right. How long it gonna be before they believe me? He didn't say how long they gonna be before they believe you, Moshe. Because he know what the rebellion was about. The rebellion wasn't about Moshe. Moshe was just the person they saw. Who they really had a problem with was Yahweh. They didn't have a problem with Moshe. It didn't matter if they raised up 2, 3 more people. They wasn't going to be able to fully follow them either. Go ahead.
For all the signs which I have showed among them, I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of you a greater nation and mightier than they.
I will disinherit them. They ain't going to be my family no more by the time I get through. Disinherit. So yeah, you had an inheritance, but I'm taking it. You don't deserve to have your inheritance because of the way you act. If you have an inheritance, you're set to receive some stuff. Disinherit? Wait a minute. You got stuff that's due you. You're supposed to get this stuff. But because your actions are so foul, give me your inheritance back. I'm going to give it to somebody else. Go ahead.
And Moshe said unto Yahweh, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for you brought up this people in your might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that you, Yahweh, are among this people, that you, Yahweh, are seen face to face, and that your cloud stands over them, and that you goeth before them.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. Deuteronomy chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 1 through 16.
Verse 1. When you goeth out to battle against your enemies, and seeth horses and chariots, and a people more than you, be not afraid of them. For Yahweh your Elohim is with you, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt.
Right, but we quickly forget the great things that Yahweh has done when we get in our own personal space. Because when we get in our own personal little head space, it's all about us. It is all about whatever we may encounter, whatever may be done harmful to us, whatever we may prosper by, is us, 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 us. It is that selfish thing. We have forgotten what Yahweh has already done for our whole nation. Why are you so quick to forget the miracles that you just seen? So now you're afraid of these people? When you just walk through a wall, who can stop the forces of water and the earth? And you think some big man can do something to you? You know what kind of miraculous event it's got to be to walk through a wall of water? Do you understand how much noise that's got to be to stir the water up? First of all, it's fearful to walk in it because you're wondering, okay, this ain't going to stop while I'm in the middle of it, is it? Because, I mean, you know, it's a long path through there. I mean, matter of fact, I can't even see the end of it. I see there ain't no water right here. But what happens when we go over that hill? Is it water again over there? And you done walked all the way through this. What man can touch you after that? How you see a man? Oh my goodness, look how big he is. I don't think we can beat them. You think that man can fight that water? Fear and disbelief. What can that man do to that water? One of the most powerful forces on earth. And Yahweh stopped it like it was nothing. But we get afraid of a man. Go ahead.
You know, bro, and that was the situation when they spied it out. What did they say? And we were as grasshoppers in our own sight.
Right. Right. They already defeated in their mind. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And it shall be, when you are come near unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, you approach this day unto the battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be you terrified because of them.
And this is a part of belief. See, it's one thing to believe, and I think this is what we get caught up at. We having problems believing in our own homes, comfortable in our own little jobs, and we got houses and cars. If you having a problem believing now, you're going to have a real hard time when there's an army over that hill. You're going to have a real hard time. When the ground vibrates from the marching that's happening on the other side of that hill. And we got to go take it. See, Yahweh tell you, yeah, the land is yours. But don't think them people just going to lay down and die because you said, hey, I'm Israel. I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm Israel. And they say, oh, yeah? Come and prove it. Show us you Israel. Show us that this Yahweh is with you. Let's see. We'll see by the time this battle over if this Yahweh is with you. So if you're having a hard time believing and you got 400 channels in Central Air, oh my dear, you about to have some issues. Go ahead.
For Yahweh your Elohim is he that goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. And the officers shall speak, saying, What man is there that has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it.
Now, in verse 4, it says, Yahweh your Elohim is he that goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. But see, the natural eye can't see the angels that's about to fight. Then when you deal with the difference between holy things and regular things, have you sanctified yourself as a nation that those angels will continually be with you? If so, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Go ahead.
And what man is he that has planted a vineyard and has not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that has betrothed a wife and has not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted?
Now, this is what we talked about in Bible study. About now, here it is. It's a time to battle, but then there's men that are fearful and faint-hearted. Go ahead.
Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart.
Right. So that fearful and faint-hearted heart will spread to other areas of the people of Israel. Just like negative thoughts and bad doctrines, they're going to spread. It's not going to stay in that one little circle. So at this point, the priest said, go home. But don't think it's going to be well for those people when they come back. Say, your only reason for not going with us because you was scared? Go ahead.
And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When you cometh near unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make you an answer of peace and open unto you, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto you, and they shall serve you.
So then there's order in even how war is done. Go ahead.
And if it shall make no peace with you, but will make war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when Yahweh your Elohim has delivered it into your hands, you shall smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword.
Every what?
Male.
Go ahead.
But the women, and the little ones, and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shall you take unto yourselves.
Right. And see, this is why today the black female can't understand the pressure that is put upon the black male. See, they want to kill the black male while saving you alive, because you're going to be the incubators for their babies. But then that causes us to go against one another. Go ahead.
And you shall eat the spoil of your enemies, which Yahweh your Elohim has given you. Verse 15. Thus shall you do unto all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not of the cities of these nations. But of the cities of these people, which Yahweh your Elohim does give you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breathes.
You shall save alive nothing that breathes. That's a pretty strong commandment. So this whole, imagine understanding, reading Daniel, and it says the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. No, you got to take it back. But then you have been listening to every Sunday morning, love. God is love. So you're ready to have a love fest, and everybody else over there polishing their weapons. So you got roses, and they got M16s. It's finna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be just as red as them roses you got in your hand. That ain't gonna work. See, we gotta understand what thus says Yahweh. Yeah, it's yours, but you're gonna earn it though. I ain't just finna give it to you. You're gonna earn it. It's your stuff. He told Dawid, you the real king. You the real king. Yeah, but that dude over there still got the crown. Okay, but Yahweh, you said I was the king. You are, man. You the king. Now go get that crown. But Yahweh, he got a whole army. I just got a few mad dudes. Yeah, I know. Go get that crown. That's yours. Remember now, I love you, boy. All right, I'm out. Wait a minute. Don't leave yet. We need to talk. No. You got your instructions. You the king. Now go get that crown. That belonged to you. Man, you know how long that took? And I don't think people really consider how long it was before the man who was announced as king by Yahweh actually had a crown on his head. He was years warring with this dude. But Yahweh had already said, you the king. I don't care what they think. I don't care what's on his head. You got my crown. But I'm going to need you to go get that one that's on his head too, though. Go ahead.
You know, like you were saying, it's a harsh saying when he says, leave nothing alive. The scripture also said, if I went to other nations, they would have followed me. When I was coming up, I don't see it that much anymore. The Euro Gentiles used to have a sticker that said, what? Kill them all. Let God sort them out. So it let you know that they going to follow this to the T if they got to do it.
You got it. See, we're going to be the ones sitting there trying to debate. Well, should we kill this one? This one looks so nice and pretty. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. It's so pretty. I think we ought to keep this one here. Right. That's going to be the one to kill all y'all in about 20 years. Right. That one right there. The little pretty one. Right. Go ahead, brother. Did we finish that?
Yes.
All right. Where we going now?
Matthew
9.
Matthew 9.
Matthew chapter 9. Matthew chapter 9, and let's start that at verse 27.
Verse 27. And when Yahshua departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, You son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind man came to him. And Yahshua says
Now,
unto them,
first of all, how they know he was the son of David, but they couldn't see? See, most of us, that's how we justify anything. See, that's how we get caught up. That's how we get anything. We looking and we see such and such. Now we saw something we like. How they know they dealing with the son of David, but they cannot physically see? Go ahead.
Yahshua says unto them, Believe you that I am able to do this?
Now, he's asking some blind people who cannot see, do you believe that I have the ability to do what it is you asking me? Now, their belief cannot be based on sight because they don't have any. And they've never had any sight. So their belief was never based on that. Here's our problem. All of our belief has been based on sight. Everything we believe is based on what we have seen. They have belief and they have never seen anything. Go ahead.
And the funny thing about it is, he already know that they must know and believe because they can't see. Because first question that would have been, man, how you know that's me?
Hey.
You can't even see me. How you know who I am?
Exactly. See? And we base things on how something look. Oh, look, that person there look a certain way. Yeah, they must be anointed. Look at that. Oh, I see some degrees that person has. They got those letters behind their name. They must be anointed. Right, we saw that. They have seen nothing. Go ahead.
They said unto him, Yes, Adonai. Then touched he their eyes, saying, According to your faith, be it unto you.
Pause. According to your faith. So, if you don't have none, you get none. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So when people go and show up in the presence of Yahshua and they say, well, what you got? Nothing. That means you must have showed up with nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. The person that showed up with the same talent that he gave him ended up with nothing. Right. Give me this back. Give it to him. Yeah, but now he got 10. Yeah, I know. What's the problem? Go ahead.
And their eyes were opened, and Yahshua straightly charged them, saying, See that no man know it. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all that country. As they went out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb man spake, and the multitudes marveled, saying, It was never so seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, He cast out devils through the prince of the devils.
So now, even him dealing, doing a great work, now he's doing a great work because he's gotten the power of the devil himself. Go ahead. That was it. So we have to then deal with the limitation of where we are and understand that limits Yahweh, our Elohim. Yahshua is limited by their own disbelief. He said, do you believe that I can do this? Because if you don't, I don't. If you can't, I can't. So if you step toward it with disbelief, you're going to get exactly what you showed up with. He says, according to your faith. That means if there's none there, you will not get the healing or the deliverance that you asked for. And it won't be that Yahweh didn't give it to you because of something that he was not able to do. He didn't give it to you because of something that you were not able to do. You weren't able to really believe that he could do it. And when people believe, there's an action that's connected to belief. See, people think belief is a singular thing, that it's a passive thing. No, there are things that are connected to belief. See? And you can watch what people do and see if they believe or not. This is why he says they have gotten near unto Yahweh with their mouth, but their heart is far from him. He could see the belief level from what was in their hearts. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13, and let's read, start at verse 51.
Verse 51. Yahshua says unto them, have you understood all these things? They say unto him, yes, Adonai. Then said he unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder.
Every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven. This is the problem. People don't want to be instructed. And normally, it is very difficult to instruct people who think they already know. So while you talking, they done already turned their ears off. Oh, I done already heard that before. I don't need to hear that. I already know about that. So now they can't receive instruction, but it says you're instructed unto the kingdom. Then you got these people that are floating around and they self-taught. And this is why they have the strangest doctrines you ever did want to see. Every time you turn around, it's some strange thing. Where you get that from? Self-taught. They taught themselves. And it just gets stranger and stranger and strange, and it just don't stop getting strange. Go ahead.
Which bring forth out of his treasure things new and old. And it came to pass that when Yahshua had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, whence has this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son?
He ain't educated. He ain't got no degrees. I ain't listening to no woodworker. Man make tables. Supposed to be listening to him about this word. Not listening to him. We know this dude, man. Go ahead.
Is not his mother called Miriam?
Don't we know him, mama? Go ahead.
And his brethren, Jacob and Joses, and Simeon and Yehudas? And his sisters, are they not all with us?
We're going to run down the whole family. We know the brothers. We know the sisters. Man, we not listening to this dude. Go ahead.
Whence then has this man all these things?
Right. How he get this understanding? He spent all this time making tables. How he understand this? Go ahead.
And they were offended in him.
Offended. Why? Because they couldn't put a finger on how he know what he know. See? See, if somebody can look and they say, okay, well, you went to college, then now I can understand how you know what you know. But see, people get offended when they figure out, how do you know this? How were you able to get this level of understanding? Now they are offended. Now this is about their own personal thing here. Because this ain't nothing he did to them. They're not offended because he has done something or said something that offended them. They are offended because of their own personal preferences. This has absolutely nothing to do with him. He has done nothing to cause them to be offended. This is all in their own heart. Go ahead.
But Yahshua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house.
A prophet is not without honor except in his own country and in his own house. So the biggest problem you're going to have is in your own house. It's among your own people. And some of y'all have already understood that. You talk about, oh my goodness, this word is such and such. And you go to your family and they start throwing all kind of stuff at you. Man, if you don't get out of here with that, they can't accept none of that. And some of them, they can't accept it from you. Say, man, no, I remember you used to be the dude that was on the corner at the little gas station over there. Now you talking this word? They can't accept that from you. So there's only but so much honor you're going to get in that place. Go ahead.
And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief.
And because of their unbelief, he could not do works there. So now they have suffered because their belief wasn't right. Because they were offended because they couldn't put a finger on how he knows what he knows. Check that out. So now they have hurt themselves. Let's go to Luke chapter 6. Luke chapter 6, and let's read verses 6 through 11.
Verse 6. And it came to pass also on another Sabbath that he entered into the synagogue and taught. And there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and the Pharisees watched him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an occasion against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man which had the withered hand, Rise up and stand forth in the midst. And he arose and stood forth.
Right. So on one instance, you have the people talking about, God is love and blah, blah, blah. Yeshua know that this is going to be a major altercation. So does he avoid the altercation and then go heal a man in the back hall? He do it right in front of everybody. So while they already looking for an occasion to have a problem with him, he said, oh, they all looking. Come here, brother with the withered hand. Come here. But this about to cause an issue. I know. Come here. Come here, brother. Yeah, stretch forth that withered hand. Let me look at it. I know this brother ain't about to heal up in him. He know it's about to be an issue. But he don't go to the back hall and go do it. He don't say, hey, brother, why don't you slide back here behind these bushes, man? I'm going to go on and heal you. And then, you know what I'm saying? You just come out with a strong hand. You know what I'm saying? But don't tell nobody I got strong. All right? No. Let's go ahead and create this altercation right here. But see, now you have some carnal things because of where they are. Now they want to limit what can be done on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. See? Now, this is how the adversary of the devil works. He will put things in your head that you can do these things, but you can't do those things. And he switches them around. He switches them around very slickly. So now, you come to the Sabbath. Why do you think we've had people that have showed up that we sitting here eating a meal and they pull out a bunch of cold cuts? Because they was told you can't heat up anything on the Sabbath. So now they want the most uncomfortable Sabbath, as humanly possible. Because then they think it was holy if they kept it like that. So then they over here eating crackers. And I'm like, hey, brother, let's go on and get this meal going. And they pull out their cold cuts. So now they have limited their Sabbath and made it a work. Because of all the things that they're trying to keep out of it, they have actually made it. Now it's not a joy. Now, if the devil can get you to believe that your Sabbath is not a joy, how long do you think you're going to keep keeping that Sabbath? See, our problem is we don't see the steps of deception. We don't realize the deception until it's at level 10 and at step 12. No, you got to see deception at step 1. Oh, okay. So if you limit all the things that I can do on the Sabbath, in about 2 months, I'm going to get real weary of this Sabbath. And I'm going to be off doing something else. Right. He's slick like that. You got to catch him when he step up in your foyer. Get out. No, I just want to talk to you. Get out, devil. I saw you when you came in here. Turn around and go back out the door. I just want to talk. We can talk in the yard. Get out my house. You don't have any authorization to be here. See, Yahweh have to give you authorization to come up in here. You don't have no authorization to come up in here. See? I'm a child of Elohim. There's a hedge round about my house. You cannot come in here unless I or he invite you. And I don't remember telling you can come in here. So let's go past the mailbox and we can have our conversation. But don't come on my property ever again. He knew yo. He couldn't go on his property. See them private property signs, do not trespass? I need a Yahweh property sign, do not trespass, and no devils allowed. So the demon will see it. Look at him, he know Yahweh. We can't go over there. Right. I need the demons to see the sign too. Don't come over here. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 9. Then said Yahshua unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good or to do evil?
Right.
To save life or to destroy it?
Yeah. I will ask you one thing. See how every time they come before him with some mess, he takes it on a higher level each time? Tell me, is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good? Should we not do good so that you can so-called keep the letter of the law? Remember the whole story about the Good Samaritan? You had priests who walked on the other side of the street when they saw the bloody man. Oh no, we're going to get unclean if we help this man. Right. Said, but who was neighbor unto him? The ones that went over there and helped him. Go ahead.
And looking round about upon them all, he said unto the man, stretch forth your hand. And he did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness.
Oh boy. Go ahead.
Communed one with another what they might do to Yahshua.
They are filled with madness. They said he has defiled the Sabbath because he has done something good on this Sabbath. We need to do something to him. How dare he heal on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day? You need to say it out loud so you can understand how stupid it is. See, sometimes you read something and it don't really sound as stupid as it is. Read it out loud. So it can really sound stupid to you. We need to do something to this man because he is healed on the Sabbath day. We need to do something to him. And then, now they're having a meeting. What can we do to harm this fella? Wow. Y'all actually meeting about this?
For doing good.
He did good at the wrong time. He should have done good on another day. Can't do good on this day. Right. If we make this day as problematic as possible, they're not going to want to continue keeping it. Adversary knows what he's doing. Read this in the next graphic, brother.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 23, pardon me. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithe of mint and anise in coming, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought you to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Right. These are the people who are supposed to be directing the rest of the people, and he says these Pharisees and scribes are hypocrites, for they do one part of the law, but omit the weightier matters of the law. Then you have judgment, mercy, and faith. These things you should have done, not leaving the others off, but they should have been done in conjunction with the other things. So while you're doing your tithe, where's your mercy? That this person should enjoy Yahweh's Sabbath day and get healed on it. Think about if somebody receives something absolutely wonderful, the best thing that has ever happened to them on the Sabbath. What do you think the Sabbath is going to be in their heart for the rest of their lives? But you want to keep that from them for your own personal position. This person receives a withered hand whole on the Sabbath. They ain't gonna miss a Sabbath. You couldn't talk them into missing a Sabbath. I wish you would go and talk to a person who had a withered hand and their hand got healed, and you want to talk to them. Hey, let's go over here and hang out. I'm gonna slap you with my good hand. Don't you ever bring up nothing about doing nothing on the Sabbath to me ever again. I ain't even been able to ball this fist until I kept the Sabbath and that strange dude healed it. Now I'm going to hit you in your face with this healing if you come near me again trying to talk me against Yahweh's holy Sabbath. He ain't going to do it no more. He will never remember or forget how he got healed on Yahweh's Sabbath day. He ain't never going to forget that. That is going to be in his heart forever. Why would you want to take that from somebody? Go ahead, bro. Read the next graphic.
23 and verse 24. You blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel.
Now, you got to understand how backwards this is. You're going to strain at a gnat, but you can swallow a whole camel. See, what this is it's that thing where we go all out to deal with some unnecessary stuff. But then we don't have enough energy or anything else to deal with the things of righteousness. Because you have used up your prime energy, your prime time, your prime substance dealing with mess. So now when it's time to deal with Yahweh stuff, you're exhausted. You tapped out. I ain't got no more money left. Right? Where did it go? Where did your time, energy, and substance go? Oh, you spent it all dealing with foolishness. You strained at a gnat and swallowed a camel. That is a problem. And that's that thing that we really have to get away from. Let's go to Galatians chapter 2. Galatians chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 5.
Then 14 years after I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas and took Titus with me also. And I went up by revelation and communicated unto them that the gospel which I preach among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of the reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain. But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised.
Right, because circumcision was not given unto the Euro-Gentiles. That was given unto Israel. Okay, go ahead.
And that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came privily to spy out our liberty, which we have in Yahshua the Mashiach, that they might bring us into bondage.
Right, they want to bring them back into bondage, but after privately spying out their liberty. See, there's liberty given in Yahshua. See, there's liberty that we have to move around and do some things that we may not ordinarily have had before Yahshua. Let me tell you something. These women sitting in this congregation, most of y'all don't even understand that it's a liberty that you're allowed to even be in here. Now, it's amazing that the limitations that jump in and out, it don't never jump in and out as it pertains to particular individuals and what they want to do. Now, imagine if we did that according to the Old Testament. Wouldn't be no women in here. Y'all have to be in another room watching the TV. See, this is the part of the thing that he's talking about. Liberty. They came privately to spy out our liberty. And then what is their problem? Whatever your liberty is, they all of a sudden have a problem with that. See, we used to have this TV show when I was working under my elder before he passed away, there was a man that would call in and he would ask like 4 or 5 mixed questions at the same time before he stopped talking. But what he would do is he would try to get you to engage in the middle of the conversation. What was happening is he was actually asking 5 questions, but he wouldn't lock in on one until he figured out whichever one he thought you didn't know. And he had ran this game on so many people, and I'm sitting there waiting on my chance to get on this show. And here it is. He calls in. I said, brother, ask one question instead of 5 mixed up questions trying to figure out which one you think I don't know. Now, which one of these is your question? And he stopped doing it. But he had tried to trip up everybody on that show, because it was a live show, by doing this thing. That his only issue is whatever he thinks you don't know. So those who come to privately spy out your liberty, they end up having specific issues with whatever they think you might be conquered with. And it is interesting how those issues move around. We once had a brother that was trying to get his wife into the congregation. And his wife came into the congregation by way of a birthday party. Later on, the brother ended up having a problem with birthday parties, which is the very way that his wife got into the congregation. Me and Kiss just sat there and looked at each other like, boy, it's amazing how strange doctrine just jump around. That is how your wife got here, through a birthday party. Now, all of a sudden, you can't observe birthdays. Now, we got situations where we have to acknowledge and deal with people at certain stages of their life. How in the hell are we going to know that if we don't acknowledge their birthdays? At 20 years old, a dude can help the priest. At 30 years old, he can be a priest. At 50 years old, he is retired. How are we supposed to know that? We supposed to listen to you and believe that you 20, 30, or 50? We have to have some kind of acknowledgement that you are of that age. At least we get some 40 looking old dude talking about the time for me to retire. Bro, you ain't worked long enough. Go in there and tell them white people you finna retire and you ain't did 20 years. See what they tell you. We ain't finna look at what you look like. Let's look at these numbers. According to these papers, you didn't start here until 19 such and such. You ain't put in enough time. I'm gonna need you to go back to your post. You can't come in here and retire. You ain't put in the right amount of time. So we just supposed to be willy-nilly and just let people retire whenever they say? So what happens if the dude just live hard and he just look old? He been out drinking all night. I'm 50. You need to let me retire. No, bro. You look like you 50, but you're not 50. You don't get to retire. You have not put in the adequate time. Turn around and go back. Play that game somewhere else. See, you have these things, and I'm so glad a sister had asked a question about rejoicing and partying. That's why we went into the things about bringing the wine and all of those things and rejoicing before Yahweh. On our new year, you know, we light fireworks. We do all things. We enjoy. We have us a cookout. We do all of those things. But you know what end happens? Then what happens is people then try to put the limitation. Oh, well, you know those other people do fireworks on their new year. What the hell I got to do with me? Sin is the transgression of the law. Show me a law that say we can't do fireworks. Okay. Well, then you take the devil his message back to him and drop it off. Say, look, don't bring this to me no more. Because you almost caused a problem in my house. Don't bring that here no more. See? And it's funny. Because almost every brother got him a pistol. What do you think a pistol is? It's a firework with a projectile inside of it. How do you think they even discovered guns? They took the firework and put a little piece of metal behind it, and it whap, shot the metal out. So the same brothers, and it's funny, because we had that too, the same brothers who had a problem with firework, I said, well, how many guns you got? Oh, I got 5. So you got a firework that produces a projectile, but you got a problem with firework. That's when I got that dumb look. Right. Mutisa. Right. That's when I got the dumb look. What do you think a pistol is? But we don't have no problem with those. Wow. And these people have taken fireworks and just put, hey, look at the gun. Don't you see the fire that shoot out of it when you fire it? You don't see the fire that comes out of that? The first ones, what they were doing, you had to put in the gunpowder and slam the projectile in it. Wow, then shoot it. Pour the gunpowder, pour the firework in there, push the projectile. It was 2 parts. Now it's 1 part. Same thing. So do not let people limit your rejoicing by what they think because somebody else did it. I had one brother say, well, you know, when we read in this book, Pharaoh had a birthday party, and then somebody else's birthday party, somebody got killed. What the hell that got to do with me? I don't plan on cutting on nobody's head. And I don't plan on killing nobody for my own joy and entertainment. But I tell you what, when it comes down to rejoice, this is Yahweh's day. When we keep our new year, this is the first new moon of that year. We rejoice because Yahweh has brought us to another year. With all the problems and issues and everything, we still made it. We still got our problems. We still got our issues, but we made it through another year. And that's what a birthday is. You rejoice in the day of your birth, and you also rejoicing, I made it another year. I remember in my limitations, I didn't think I would make it past 25 years old because I was living just that ignorant. Bro, don't laugh at me, bro. Don't laugh, bro. Don't laugh. Light your candle, bro. Light your candle and go on and sit it down. All right? I'm going to tell Athalia the kind of foolishness you got going on right now. You know what I'm saying? And I know for a fact she's not going to approve of your actions, okay? I know that, sister, okay? She don't approve of that foolishness, bro. All right? You need to quit that foolishness. But see, that was my limitation of what I thought I would be able to do in my life. And because of having that limitation in my mind, I almost manifested that limitation. I almost manifested the limitation that I put in my own mind. So you got to be careful what you let get in there, because then you will manifest it. So I got close to 25 and I'm looking for death. Listen to them Tupac songs. All he did was rap about his death. Listen to Biggie. They rap about their death. They both dead. Me want to live. So I had to find me another mentor. Tupac was my man. 50 grand. I listened to Tupac sun up, sun down. I had to find something else to listen to. I can't listen to all them death becomes me songs. No, I don't want to die. No, I gotta find something else. So I still listen to Tupac, to this day. I put on a little Tupac, but when he get to that dying stuff, skip. No, I don't need to be soaking that in. I can't keep soaking that in no more. See, I'm not bringing in that death thing so that I believe that I should die, that I'm going to die. What kind of dude does an album cover with his funeral stuff as the album cover? You got a casket? And everybody can't believe that he dead. I can't believe he dead. You can't? He put a casket as his album cover. You didn't think that? Right. By your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 6 and let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Proverbs chapter 6, and we're going to start this at verse 1, and we're going to read through verse 19.
My son, if you be surety for your friend, if you have stricken your hand with a stranger, you art snared with the words of your mouth, you are taken with the words of your mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver yourself. When you are come into the hand of your friend, go, humble yourself, and make sure your friend. Give not sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provides her meat in the summer, and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come as one that travaileth, and your want as an armed man. A naughty person, a wicked man, walks with a froward mouth. He winks with his eyes, he speaks with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He sows discord.
Devising mischief continually and sowing discord is all produced by the words of the lips. Sowing discord, having people looking at another individual a certain way based upon the things that have proceeded out of their mouth. And sometimes you have to be the one to stop the sowing of discord. Whenever somebody got a whole lot of things to say about somebody else, stop. They over there. Don't sow the discord to me. Go over there and talk to them. Sometimes there's legitimate issues. Then other times it's just the constant sowing of discord. Go over there and talk to them. That's how you stop that. Say, you know what? Pause for a second. Come here. Okay, go ahead. Start back where you were. No. Start back where you were before I walked off. No. You know, say all the stuff that you were saying before I went and got this individual. Now say it. That's going to stop that sowing of discord right there. Go ahead.
Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy.
And they don't understand that this is about all the sowing of discord that they've done in other places. Now they're broken immediately. And then they want, well, how did this come upon me? Right. Sowing is planting. This is what you've planted. Go ahead.
These 6 things does Yahweh hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood.
And you have to look at the original sin of man and look at how many of these things that man committed in one walk. Proud look. Where's your brother? Am I my brother's keeper? A lying tongue. I don't know nothing about where my brother is. Hands that shed innocent blood. He did all that in one sin. Proud look, I'm going to speak against Yahweh. Why? Because I don't think he know what I did just yet. And that's what we do. When we don't think we fully caught, we still running off at the mouth. Not knowing that the other person already know you lying. So you still talking proud. Because you don't think you caught. So you huffing and a puffing. And you going to blow somebody's house down. But they know you lying. And they just look at you. Go ahead.
An heart that devises wicked imagination.
That's what ended up happening. When you entertain them bad thoughts, now here come the wicked imaginations. And the wicked imaginations will lead you to some very dark places. Because now you think that you're reacting from something that somebody might do to you, and they ain't even thought about you. They didn't even know you were there. Now that wicked imagination done caused you to do some things and react some ways, and they like, you did what? You thought what? What are you talking about? I didn't even know you was here. That's what the wicked imagination, but there are steps that happen before the wicked imagination. Can you recognize those steps and stop before you get to the wicked imagination part? I think this person has something against me. How did you get to that? What made you think they had something against you? Back up and you might see the steps where you made that made you believe that this person has something against you. Then you might see the cause of your wicked imagination. Because a wicked imagination will make you react to your brother or sister in a wicked way. Go ahead.
Feet that be swift in running to mischief.
We hear something. Oh, let us go do this. Now we done join on to somebody else's mischief. Go ahead.
A false witness that speaks lies, and he that sows discord among brethren.
Sowing discord among brethren may cause a serious issue. We have this holy day of Passover coming up. And have we truly examined ourselves? So, you know, when you deal with all of the sacrifices that Yahshua has made for us, we have to consider going before or approaching unto the altar with all of these things that we have either unresolved or issues that we have produced in our own mind with wicked imaginations. But then we're going to approach unto Yahweh's altar and expect him to deliver us. But we're not going to even examine our own heart before we approach. This is why he says separate the sanctuary. So that when you get ready to come to me, get yourself together. Then come. So when they say, you know, hey, such and such didn't come, you know, to class this week, I said, it might be good they didn't come. Maybe their heart wasn't right. They need to get some things together. Leave them alone. I'll call to check on somebody's health. You all right? But I don't call and ask nobody. So you ain't coming? You don't know what kind of mental shape they was in. You don't know what kind of spiritual shape they was in. You don't know exactly what they might have been going through. And if you already in one of those moods, and I've had one of those before, where you were so angry, the first thing somebody say to you, you gonna fly off the handle. And if that's where you at, stay at home. We on the internet. If somebody say shalom, and you got to say, well, what's so damn peaceful about it? You need to go home, boo-boo. If can't nobody shalom you, they can't greet you, go home. We are on the internet. And if the sight of me ticks you off, we have a call line. You can listen and not see my mug. You ain't got to look at me. And then when your spirit better, come back. I'm completely fine with it. Just I can't do that. We can't just miss a Sabbath. You know, Esaac wasn't right in his mind today. But he gave us a list of scriptures to read, you know. So everybody just turn to Genesis 1. That ain't going to work out. Okay, I don't have the ability to do that. So see, I had to work through some of my stuff before I got to you. Don't mean I didn't have those issues. That's why I recognized them so easily. I already had them. It don't mean I showed up perfect. No, I just already been through what you're going through. That's why I recognize it. So you can try to hide it as much as you want to. Already been there. That's why you can't hide it. See, I have to already have gone through that for me to help deal with somebody else who's going through that. I can't just skip a Sabbath. This is my job. So let us consider those things as we approach unto this Passover. And if there are any questions, email me to the uci.org@gmail.com, or if you're present, you can ask me a question, because I don't want nobody feeling like they're sinning as we party for our new year. For all other new moons, I do a class. I ain't doing no class on this one. So for y'all who trying to tune in, you won't have nothing to tune in to, because I won't be broadcasting. We may be posting some pictures. So don't be looking at me strange. Why he got that cup in his hand? Why he sipping like that? If you feel some type of way, like I said, You ain't got to come if you don't want to. It's fine. We'll be all right. We'll see you the next one. But this one, we do differently than any other new moon. And that is because it is Yahweh's new year. We are rejoicing that we have made it through another year of complete and utter turmoil. It's like that thing where it says, when Yahshua says, who do you think will love him the most? The one who he has forgiven the most. See, the people who don't think they've been through nothing and they ain't been brought through nothing, they didn't really have no issues, they just a little thankful. Oh, okay. But the ones who know they done been through something and he done brought them. Yes! They got a different reaction. They know what they've been through. They know what brought them through. Oh, they rejoice in a different way. But if you thought you was already there, I mean, when I came here, I was already there. I just learned a few words like Yeshua. They don't even clap. I give you a few snaps on that. Right. But for those who know we've been brought out the gutter, our rejoicing is a little bit different. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.